We were all shocked to read reports that Teyana Taylor and Aaron Pierre split up over the holidays. They did. That is such a hot couple gone to waste. They are so, together. They were so beautiful. They dated less than a year. But here's the part that took me out. Women are already flooding Aaron's comments, trying to get his attention, because he posted a very, very fine as hell picture of himself. All right, that's what he posted. So one comment said, "We heard you're single now. You taking any applications?" Another said, "If you ever need a shoulder to cry on." Another woman said, "If you need a friend to talk to, I'm here."
The world of Hollywood has just been leveled by a nuclear blast of betrayal, and the fallout is deadlier than anyone ever imagined. We are talking about a total scorched earth collapse of the industry's most stunning power couple. Just months after we saw Teyana Taylor glowing, radiating, and calling Aaron Pierre her everything, the mask has been ripped off. And what's underneath is a chilling tale of cold-blooded ambition and a racial scandal that is currently setting social media on fire. We have the exclusive, never-before-seen details of the moment Teyana Taylor finally cornered Aaron Pierre in a high-stakes, tear-soaked confrontation that ended in a scream heard across the hills of Los Angeles. This isn't just a breakup, it's a systematic execution of a woman's heart. Sources close to Teyana are leaking the horrifying truth. She didn't just lose her man, she was allegedly traded in. The rumors are screaming that Aaron Pierre didn't just walk away. He dumped the culture's queen for a white woman he's been keeping in the shadows for months. The receipts are leaking, the secret recordings are being transcribed as we speak, and Teyana's inner circle is ready to burn it all down. We are going inside the room where the confrontation turned physical, where the words, "You were just a stepping stone," were allegedly hurled like daggers. If you thought you knew the truth about Teyana and Aaron, you have been lied to. Brace yourselves, because the level of disrespect, the secret type preference, and the ultimate betrayal are about to be laid bare in a way that will change how you see Aaron Pierre forever. The silence was shattered at 3 a.m. when a series of frantic, deleted within seconds Instagram stories from Teyana's private close friends list began to circulate among the elite gossip circles of Calabasas. This was the moment the world stopped spinning. The air in the room was thick with the scent of expensive perfume and the metallic tang of pure, unadulterated rage. Teyana Taylor, the woman who defined cool for an entire generation, was reportedly found standing in the middle of a luxury hotel suite, trembling not with sadness, but with a volcanic fury that threatened to incinerate Aaron Pierre's rising career. The source of her pain? A leaked series of text messages between Aaron and a mysterious, blonde-haired executive's daughter that proved Teyana wasn't his soulmate. She was his PR strategy. The confrontation was cinematic, a high-octane collision of two worlds. Teyana didn't just walk in, she stormed the gates of his reality, demanding to know how a man could look her in the eyes and call her his apple pie, while simultaneously scouting for her replacement. Insiders claim the argument began when Teyana discovered a hidden folder on a shared cloud drive, photos of Aaron at a secluded villa in the south of France, a trip he claimed was for press junkets, but the images told a story of a blonde woman draped over his shoulder, a woman who looked nothing like the black excellence image he was curating with Teyana. This was the ultimate betrayal. Teyana, who had just survived a grueling, high-profile divorce, he had opened her heart and her home to Aaron, shielding him from the vultures of the industry. She gave him her platform, her followers, and her cultural currency. And in return, he allegedly told his secret lover in a voice note that has since been leaked to top-tier bloggers, "It's almost over, baby. The contract is up. I just need to get through the Mufasa press run, and then I'm all yours." The audio is chilling, the tone cold and calculated, devoid of the warmth he showed Teyana on the red carpets. As the confrontation escalated, the walls of the suite seemed to close in. Witnesses, staff who were quickly paid off but couldn't keep their mouths shut, describe a scene of emotional carnage. Teyana reportedly threw her phone across the room, the screen shattering just like her trust. "You used me for the culture," she screamed, her voice cracking with the weight of 1,000 heartbreaks. "You needed the black vote. You needed the streets to back you, so you crawled into my bed until Disney cut the check." Aaron, usually the picture of British composure and stoic elegance, allegedly cracked. He didn't deny it. He didn't plead for forgiveness. Instead, he stood there with a terrifyingly blank expression, his silence confirming Teyana's worst fears. The type rumours weren't just rumours, they were his reality. He had allegedly been advised by his management that a high-profile black romance would ground his image before he transitioned into a mainstream global, code for white-adjacent superstar. The social media fallout was instantaneous. Within minutes of the first whispers hitting X, the hashtag Team Teyana was trending globally. Fans began digging, and what they found was a digital trail of breadcrumbs leading straight to a London-based socialite who had been liking Aaron's photos for years. The internet detectives found a photo of the woman wearing a sweatshirt that looked suspiciously like the one Aaron wore in a paparazzi shot 3 weeks ago. The betrayal wasn't just romantic, it was a curated heist of Teyana's brand. Every time they were photographed together, Aaron's follower count jumped by hundreds of thousands. Every time she mentioned him in an interview, his bankability skyrocketed. He was the it man because she made him the it man. Now he was discarding her like a used script. But the most explosive part of this opening act of war? The leaked video from a hallway security camera. In the grainy, silent footage, you can see Teyana being escorted out by security, her face buried in her hands while Aaron stands in the doorway checking his watch. The coldness is haunting. This wasn't a man who had lost his girlfriend. This was a man who had finished a business meeting. The white meat rumours that Jessica Hardwick had warned Teyana about were no longer just petty industry shade. They were a confirmed lifestyle choice. Jessica had told Teyana months ago, he loves the aesthetic you give him, but he craves the aesthetic he grew up wanting. And Teyana had dismissed it as jealousy. Now she was choking on the truth. Twitter was a battlefield. "I knew he was too good to be true," one viral tweet read. "He used Teyana to get that Disney check and then traded her in for a basic Becky. The disrespect is astronomical." Another fan posted a side-by-side comparison of Teyana and the rumoured new woman. I captioned, "When you go from a 10 to a 2 just to fit into the Hollywood mould. Disgusting." The industry was reeling. Famous friends of Teyana began unfollowing Aaron in droves. Cardi B reportedly posted a cryptic "loyalty is dead" story, and even Drake, who has a long, complicated history with Teyana, was rumoured to have sent her a massive bouquet of "I told you so" roses. As Teyana retreated to her private estate to lick her wounds, the leaked messages continued to pour out. One message, allegedly from Aaron to his sister, read, "Teyana is amazing, but it's intense. The world expects me to be this certain thing because of her. I need something lighter, something easier. I've found that." The easier part sent Teyana into a tailspin. Was she too much for a man who wanted to blend into the whitewashed world of A-list leading men? The emotional breakdown was captured in a leaked audio clip from a phone call between Teyana and her mother. "I gave him my soul, Ma," she sobbed. "I thought we were building a dynasty. He was just building a resume." The narrative was shifting from a breakup to a heist. Pierre was being branded a vampire of the culture, someone who feeds on the energy and relevance of black women only to discard them when they've reached the peak of their utility. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. He was playing Mufasa, the king of the jungle, but in real life, he was behaving like a scavenger. Teyana's fans, the Taylor Gang, were mobilizing for a digital assassination. They began flooding his comments with snake emojis and pictures of Teyana looking like the goddess she is. But Aaron's team was ready. They began a counter-offensive, leaking stories to major outlets about Teyana's volatility and unrealistic expectations of marriage. They were trying to paint her as the angry black woman to justify his escape into the arms of his new, quiet, white partner. The tension reached a fever pitch when a video surfaced of the other woman leaving Aaron's London flat the morning after the LA confrontation. She was smiling. She was carrying a coffee cup. She looked like she didn't have a care in the world while Teyana's life was being dismantled in the public square. This wasn't just a pivot, it was an insult. Teyana reportedly saw the video and went into a trance-like state of productivity. She began recording music that sources say is the most violent, beautiful, and honest work of her career. But the music couldn't stop the leaks. A secret recording of a heated phone call between Aaron and Teyana's manager surfaced, where Aaron can be heard saying, "She's a legend, but I'm a star. Stars need a different kind of sky." The audacity of his words sent shockwaves through the community. Who did he think he was? Without Teyana, he was just another handsome actor with a deep voice. With her, he was royalty. The betrayal felt personal to every black woman who had ever been leveled up by a man only to be left behind once he reached the top. Teyana wasn't just fighting for herself. She was the face of a collective trauma. The social media chaos was so intense that Aaron had to disable his comments, but the fire had already spread to his brand deals. Rumors began to swirl that Disney was concerned about the optics of their new king of the Pride Lands being a symbol of cultural betrayal. But just when you thought the drama couldn't get any more explosive, a new player entered the chat. A former associate of Aaron's came forward with a dossier of emails that suggested this white woman wasn't just a new flame. She was a long-term partner he had been seeing since before he ever met Teyana. The implication was soul-crushing. Teyana Taylor, the baddest in the game, was the other woman in a PR-mandated relationship, while the real girlfriend waited in the wings for her turn in the sun. Teyana's response to this news was a single cryptic post on her story, a picture of a lioness protecting her cubs with the caption, "The truth doesn't just come out, it screams," and scream it did. The final leak of the night was a screenshot of a DM Teyana sent to the new woman. It wasn't an insult. It wasn't a threat. It was a warning. "You can have the actor," the message read, "but you'll never have the man I made him. Enjoy the ghost I left behind." The internet exploded. Was Teyana done? Or was she just getting started? The world held its breath as reports surfaced that Teyana had booked a one-way flight to London, not for a vacation, but for a final face-to-face showdown that would either end in a reconciliation or a total career-ending catastrophe for Pierre. The stakes had never been higher, and as the plane touched down at Heathrow, the world realised that the most dangerous thing in Hollywood is a woman with nothing left to lose and a receipt for everything she's ever bought. The tarmac at Heathrow was slick with rain, but the atmosphere was pure, unadulterated fire as Teyana Taylor stepped off that private jet like a woman on a mission to dismantle an empire. This wasn't a heartbroken ex-girlfriend, this was a general going to war. Within minutes of her arrival, the digital underworld went into a frenzy. A leaked audio clip, allegedly recorded by a disgruntled member of Aaron's security team, captured the moment Teyana bypassed the front desk of his 5-star London hotel. You can hear the heavy thud of her designer boots on the marble and the panicked whispers of the staff trying to block her path. "He's in room 402, a voice whispers in the recording, followed by the chilling sound of Teyana's voice. Low and dangerous. He better be ready to look at what he destroyed. The confrontation that followed was nothing short of a psychological thriller. Inside the suite, Pierre was reportedly caught off guard, not alone but in the middle of a high-level strategy meeting with his UK agents and, shockingly, the very woman the internet had dubbed the replacement. Sources say the heir left the room the second Teyana walked in. She didn't scream this time. She didn't throw anything. She simply sat down at the table, dropped a thick manila envelope in front of Aaron's new flame, and said, "I think you should know exactly who you're signing a contract with." The contents of that envelope? alleged financial records proving that Teyana had been bankrolling Aaron's lifestyle, from his private acting coaches to his high-end wardrobe, while he was secretly funneling money into a joint account with this other woman. The betrayal went deeper than skin color. It was a financial and emotional heist. Teyana's insiders began leaking screenshots of wire transfers that looked like a roadmap of deception. While Aaron was posing for photos with Teyana at the Oscars, he was allegedly making down payments on a flat in Shoreditch for a woman he told his inner circle was his forever. The fake but realistic leaks started flooding TikTok, showing a timeline of business trips that perfectly aligned with his secret dates. The social media chaos reached a breaking point when Aaron's other woman finally broke her silence. She posted a single photo of a diamond ring on her story with the caption, "True love doesn't need a PR team." It was a direct shot at Teyana, a move so bold it felt like a slap to the entire community that had stood by Teyana's side. The internet's reaction was a Category 5 hurricane. Fan meltdowns were happening in real time on TikTok lives, with creators burning their Mufasa merch and calling for a total boycott of Aaron's projects. He didn't just dump her, he robbed her of her peace and her coins, one viral influencer screamed into their camera. But the twist that no one saw coming was about to drop. A secret recording from inside that London hotel room surfaced on a burn account. In it, Aaron's voice is heard rising in pitch, losing that calm, cool exterior he's known for. "You think I wanted to be your accessory? Ha, Teyana," he spat. "You used me to show the world you could move on from Iman. You needed a handsome face to prove you were still the baddest, and I played the part. But I'm done being your puppet." The room supposedly went dead silent after that. Teyana's response, captured in the same leak, was a hauntingly calm. "I didn't make you a puppet, Aaron. I made you a king. But you're just a court jester with a good accent." The emotional breakdown that followed for Teyana was private, but the social media war was very public. Her Twitter went dark, but her likes tab told the story. She was liking tweets about narcissistic abuse, colorism in the industry, and how to spot a social climber. Meanwhile, Aaron's team was working overtime to bury the white woman narrative. They began planting stories in major trade magazines about his deep commitment to diversity. But it was too late. The culture had already decided his fate. The twists kept coming like body blows. Just as Aaron thought he had the situation under control, a former close friend of his leaked a series of emails between Aaron and a top-tier Hollywood casting director. In the emails, Aaron allegedly asked if his association with Teyana would pigeonhole him into only doing black films. He wrote, "I want to be seen as a global lead, like Chalamet or Pattinson. Does the relationship help or hurt that transition?" The response from the director was even more damning. "The relationship gets you in the room, the pivot gets you the Oscar." This was the smoking gun. It proved that the relationship wasn't just a romance. It was a calculated stepping stone toward whiteness as a career goal. The fallout was nuclear. Teyana's celebrity friends, including some of the biggest names in hip-hop and Hollywood, began a coordinated campaign of the Great Unfollow. But it wasn't just a social media snub. Rumors began to circulate that a major production Teyana was executive producing had just pulled Aaron's name from the consideration list for the lead role. She wasn't just hurt, she was hitting him where it mattered, his career. The industry was watching a masterclass in quiet revenge. But Aaron wasn't going down without a fight. He allegedly reached out to a famous gossip blogger to set the record out, claiming that Teyana was the one who was obsessive and controlling, and that he had to escape for his own mental health. The insider leaks became more vicious. One report claimed that Teyana had secret recordings of Aaron making disparaging remarks about the very fans who supported him. If those tapes were to drop, his career wouldn't just be over, it would be vaporized. The tension in London was so thick it could be felt across the Atlantic. Fans were tracking Teyana's every move via paparazzi shots. her face hidden behind dark glasses, her security team looking like a small army. She was spotted entering a high-profile law firm in London, sparking rumours that she wasn't just there for a confrontation. She was there to sue him for breach of contract or theft of services. Back in the States, the marriage trap theory was being flipped on its head, and people started realising that Aaron was the one who wanted the benefits of a marriage-like commitment from Teyana, the shared resources, the joint branding, without ever intending to sign the papers. He wanted the wife treatment on a girlfriend budget, and he wanted it all while looking for his true type on the side. The betrayal felt like a personal insult to every woman who has ever held a man down while he built himself up. Viral clips of Teyana's old interviews, where she talked about her loyalty and her heart, were being edited over footage of Aaron and his new woman, creating a heartbreaking montage of a love that was actually a heist. But the most shocking revelation was still to come. A source leaked a draft of an apology Aaron's team had written, which accidentally included notes in the margins like, "Make sure to mention his respect for Teyana's talent to avoid looking like a total traitor," and "play up the cultural differences to explain the new girl." The mask wasn't just slipping, it was being shredded. The world was seeing the gears of the Hollywood PR machine in real time, and it was ugly. Teyana, meanwhile, was reportedly seen at a London recording studio at 4 a.m, looking manic but brilliant. She was turning the pain into power, but the wounds were clearly deep. The section ends with a terrifying cliffhanger. Just as the sun began to rise over London, a leak from Teyana's own camp hit the web. A screenshot of a FaceTime call between Teyana and Aaron's new woman. In the photo, the new woman is crying, and Teyana has a look of grim satisfaction. The caption on the leak? "He's been lying to both of us. Part 3 is coming, and it's going to break the internet." The world gasped. Was there a secret alliance forming? Was Aaron about to be exposed by both the woman he dumped and the woman he dumped her for? The narrative was no longer about a breakup. It was about a total scorched earth exposure of a man who thought he could play the world's most dangerous game. The sun hadn't even fully cleared the London skyline when the final, most devastating wave of leaks hit the digital pavement, turning what was a celebrity breakup into a full-scale cultural execution. The alliance the world never saw coming was real. That FaceTime screenshot wasn't just a moment of drama, it was the birth of a pact. Now, insiders are now confirming that Teyana Taylor and Aaron's new woman spent 3 hours on a coded, encrypted line, realizing they had both been played by the same script. The blonde socialite, who the world thought was the villain, was allegedly just as blindsided as Teyana. She revealed to Teyana that Aaron had told her he was contractually obligated to stay with Teyana for optics, and that he was counting down the days until he could be his true self. But Teyana had the receipts that proved he was telling her the exact opposite, promising her a future, a home, and a legacy, while he was secretly texting the other woman, "I'm just doing this for the brand, stay patient." The fallout was instantaneous and catastrophic. At 9:15 a.m, a burn folder was uploaded to a public server. And the link was blasted across every major gossip forum. It contained voice notes that make the previous leaks look like child's play. In one recording, Aaron is heard laughing with his UK management team about the Teyana effect. He literally calls her the booster rocket, saying, "Once I hit the stratosphere, I can just detach and let her fall back to Earth." That's how the game is played. The level of sociopathic calculation sent a chill through the industry. This wasn't just a man who didn't love a woman. This was a man who viewed a human being as a disposable piece of hardware for his own ascent. The white woman aspect wasn't just a preference, it was part of his exit strategy to distance himself from the very culture that birthed his fame. The confrontation moved from the hotel suite to the digital town square. Teyana, of finally breaking her silence in a way that felt like a literal earthquake, posted a 10-minute video that she deleted after only 60 seconds, but not before it was ripped and re-uploaded by thousands. In the video, Teyana is standing in a dimly lit room, her eyes raw but her voice steady. "I have buried brothers, I have raised children, and I have built empires," she whispered, the intensity vibrating through the screen. "You didn't just break my heart, Aaron. You tried to steal my light to find your way out of the dark. But you forgot one thing. I am the sun. Without me, you're just a shadow in a suit." The video ended with her showing a document, a legal cease and desist, and a lawsuit for fraudulent misrepresentation and theft of intellectual property. She wasn't just suing for her heart. She was suing him for the very image she helped create. Social media went into a state of total anarchy. The Taylor gang wasn't just tweeting anymore, they were deconstructing Aaron's entire existence. Every brand that had signed him in the last 6 months was tagged in a coordinated strike. Within hours, a major luxury fashion house postponed their upcoming campaign featuring Aaron, citing unforeseen scheduling conflicts, the industry code for "you're radioactive." But the most explosive twist was yet to come. A secret recording from the London hotel lobby captured Aaron trying to flee the building, only to be met by a wall of Teyana's supporters who had tracked her location. The confrontation wasn't just between two people, it was a man versus the community he had betrayed. You can hear him shouting for his security to get these people away from me, using language that many interpreted as a total rejection of his roots. The leaked messages from Aaron's inner circle began to paint a picture of a man in a total mental breakdown. He allegedly sent a message to a former co-star saying, "She's trying to ruin me. She's turned the whole world against me just because I wanted to be happy. Is it a crime to want something else?" The something else was a dog whistle that ignited a massive debate about colorism and the leveled-up trope in Hollywood. Celebrities who had stayed quiet finally took sides. A legendary black actress posted a cryptic quote, "They want our rhythm, but not our blues. They want our magic, but not our skin." It was a direct hit. Aaron Pierre, the man who was supposed to be the next great leading man, was now the poster child for the vampire of the culture. But the true bombshell dropped at noon. A leaked medical report, the legitimacy of which is still being debated, but the damage is already done, suggested that Aaron had been seeking counselling to deal with the guilt of his PR relationship months before it ended. But the twist: the counsellor was allegedly Teyana's own therapist, whom he had manipulated his way into seeing. The betrayal of privacy was the final straw. Teyana's inner circle leaked that she had discovered he was using their shared sessions to gather intel on her insecurities to use them against her during the breakup. It was psychological warfare of the highest order. The meltdown wasn't Teyana's. It was the world's reaction to a man who had no bottom to his deception. As the evening fell in London, reports surfaced of a final private meeting at a high-security office. Teyana and Aaron face to face one last time with lawyers present. The insider who was in the room says the silence was deafening. Teyana reportedly didn't say a single word. She just watched as he signed over the rights to several joint ventures they had started, effectively stripping him of the financial legacy he thought he was building. She took back the keys to the kingdom she had given him. Aaron, according to the source, looked hollow, a shell of the man who had stood on the Disney stage months prior. He had his white woman, he had his global aspirations, but he had lost the soul that made anyone care in the first place. The Twitter war turned into a funeral for his reputation. Viral clips of his old interviews were edited to show him stuttering when asked about Teyana, now framed not as shyness, but as the lie catching up to him. The social media chaos was so profound that Aaron Pierre became a banned term in certain circles of the industry. Fans began a Teyana Taylor Appreciation Day, flooding the internet with her greatest hits, her fashion moments, and her triumphs. She had turned a moment of ultimate humiliation into a masterclass in brand protection and self-worth. She didn't just confront him, she erased the version of him that she had created. The final cliffhanger of this entire saga. As Teyana boarded her flight back to New York, she posted one last photo to her main feed. It was a picture of her hand. No longer wearing the jewelry he gave her, holding a glass of vintage champagne. The caption simply read, "The contract didn't just end. I bought the whole company. Watch the throne." But the real shocker. In the reflection of the champagne glass, fans noticed a very familiar, very powerful male figure sitting across from her. Someone she had been linked to years ago, someone with even more power than Aaron could ever dream of. Is this a new romance? Or is it the ultimate revenge move? The internet is already spiraling, because in the world of Teyana Taylor, the end of one war is just the beginning of a much bigger, much more expensive conquest. This is the most explosive, career-ending, and heart-shattering celebrity exposé of the decade. If you are as shaken as we are by this absolute betrayal, you cannot afford to look away now. This story is developing by the second and the receipts are still pouring in. You need to hit that like button right now to show Teyana that the culture has her back. Comment below. Are you #Team Teyana, or do you think Aaron was just playing the Hollywood game? We are reading every single comment, and the tea is overflowing. I repeat, do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell immediately. We have the next set of leaked footage from the legal meeting that will change everything. If you aren't subscribed, you're going to miss the biggest reveal in YouTube history. You do not want to be the last one to know when the final audio tapes drop. Stay tuned, stay woke, and remember, the truth doesn't just come out, it screams. Click subscribe now and join the front lines.